Hello, I'm Richard Murphy, and I want to talk about who owns the UK's national debt. If you were to believe our politicians, the UK's national debt is a disaster waiting to happen. Well, that's not true. It isn't. It's actually pretty fundamental to the way in which we run our national economy. Now, we've already done a video about that, but I want to explore who actually owns this debt and why, therefore, it's important, because they aren't owning it by chance or by force. They're owning it by choice. Now let's talk about who they are. I'm using data from the Debt Management Office, which is the government organisation that issues the national debt. And the data is for the period to 31st December 2019 and is the most up-to-date we've got. We've been through a period of crisis, and so we aren't quite sure what the current figures are. But these will do. What they say is that 33% of our total national debt, which in December 2019 was £2.1 trillion at market value, 33% of that was owned by pension funds and life assurance companies. In other words, if you've got life assurance or if you've got a private pension, you own part of the UK national debt because your pension fund manager or your life assurance company is investing in that debt. So this is personal. You're in this game, let's be clear about it. And that is 1/3 of the total UK national debt is owned by people like you, because pension companies don't own this debt for themselves. They own it on behalf of their customers. Now, that comes to £680 billion. Only very slightly less than that, at £620 billion, is the next largest owner of debt at that time, and that is the overseas market for owners of national debt. Now, these are people who are literally outside the UK. Why do they own the national debt? Well, foreign countries want to own sterling. That's our currency, that's the pound. Why do they want to own it? Because they want to trade with us. Why do they want to trade with us? Well, we're a market of 65 million plus people. And having funds saved in the UK, either by governments or literally by foreign companies and individuals, means that they've got cash here to make settlement of debts they owe here. And because we are a major trading partner with the world, and I hope we'll remain in that situation, they need sterling to pay for what they buy. So this is what they hold to provide them with a stake in the UK. Are they going anywhere? No, of course they're not. Even if Brexit goes really badly, we're still going to trade with the rest of the world on a regular basis. We want what they've got and they want what we've got, and that trade will continue. So this balance is about them simply holding UK currency to make sure that they can trade with us. We, by the way, own foreign debt as well, of course, but they own ours to balance the equation. So they're big owners of the debt, 30% of the debt. Who else owns the debt? Well, last December, 23% of the UK's national debt, a total of £480 billion at the time, was owned by the Bank of England. Now that is the government owning its own debt, because of course the government owns the Bank of England. Now this is the result of the quantitative easing programme. Again, we've done a video on QE, but this is important to understand when we talk about the national debt. Over or around a quarter of it then, but bigger now because there's been a lot more quantitative easing in 2020, of national debt is owned by the government. Actually, you've got a stake in that as well, of course, because clearly the government is acting on our behalf. So this is again a stake in which everyone in the UK has a part. What else is there? Well, most of the rest of the debt is actually owned by banks and other financial institutions. That's around 13% of the debt, or 270 billion. And they need this debt to let the financial system work. It's used as security for borrowing and lending within the financial markets, within and between banks and other large companies in the main. So they need this for that purpose. They don't own it because it's something that they have on a whim or because they're forced to. No, they own it because it's really useful to them. Is there anybody else who owns debt? Well, a little bit by local authorities and their pension funds, but a tiny part we could recognise. And that's the 0.4%, or just £8 billion, that is actually owned by UK individuals who own a part of the national debt. Tiny, tiny amount then is by literally people. Now, why do all these organisations then hold the national debt if it is a disaster? Well, because it isn't a disaster. It provides them with financial security. It provides them with a safe place to save. They know that the government can't go bust, and therefore any money lodged with it is guaranteed to be good. In times of crisis, that's welcome. When there isn't a crisis, it provides them with the security that they need to be able to guarantee each other's bills, which is what they use this for. Are any of those people going to actually want to dramatically reduce the amount of debt that they hold over the coming years, even if we see a major economic recovery? The simple answer is no. The government won't reduce its holding because it doesn't want to disrupt the financial markets. Pension funds won't reduce their holdings because they want a safe place for people to save. That's you. And nor will overseas markets reduce their holdings because they will still continue to trade with the UK. In other words, this is not going to change. So why do UK politicians keep on describing the national debt as a disaster and something that has got to be repaid and which is a burden on our grandchildren? It's always our grandchildren who are going to have to repay it. Well, first of all, it won't be our grandchildren who have to repay it because on average the national debt is only 14 years old and our grandchildren aren't going to be repaying debt within 14 years in most people's cases. Many of us haven't even got grandchildren yet, so that's a completely absurd claim. But nobody's going to be repaying this debt. Since 1694, when we first started the UK national debt, at a time which frankly most of us can't imagine, until now, a period of 326 years, the national debt has gone up almost continually. And it's gone up almost continually simply because people want to save with the government. That's going to remain the case, it's going to carry on, and I suspect more people will want to save with the government in future. The national debt doesn't need to be repaid, and the people who own it, who are all safe, solid, secure asset managers who've definitely got their heads screwed on when they buy this stuff, are not going to be selling it off in a panic sometime soon. The national debt is here to stay, and that's a good thing for all of us. I'm Richard Murphy, thanks for watching. If you're interested, please click the subscribe button below, and you can see many more videos like this, which we're going to be producing, already have produced, will be producing. Follow me on Twitter, @RichardJMurphy. Look at my blog, Tax Research UK, and I'll see you again soon.